Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. It's your girl Shantae here at Healthy Urban Girl, and today we're talking about the best advice I've gotten based on each sign. So basically for me, I was just thinking about some advice that I got from a friend, and they happened to be a particular sign, and that advice really lined up with their sign. And it just motivated me to sit down and really like jot down some other advice I've gotten based on signs, and honestly a lot of it really lines up nicely with the qualities or characteristics of that sign. So yeah, we'll get right into it. It's not in order, just bouncing all over the place. So yeah, all right, so starting with Scorpio. Some of the best advice I've gotten from a Scorpio, and this is an actual quote, right? Some of it is like just based on the energy or information or how I've seen them live their life, but this is an actual quote that I got from a Scorpio. And they basically is a friend of mine, and they're still a friend of mine. And they were like, yo, just start taking responsibility for your shit. And the reason why that advice kind of came about is because they would notice that I would be like, oh, you know, if something happened, I would give like a reason, or like if we were to meet up, like, oh, you know, the bus was running, or, you know, I got caught up in traffic. And they would be like, just take responsibility for your shit. Like, just say you left late. You know, it's like there's always a reason. So I feel like that's really good advice coming from a Scorpio, because a Scorpio is like that sign that they are not going to beat around the bush. They're not going to like make something look like something that it's not. Like, they're going to keep it real with you. And I feel like that's something that they kind of can bring out of people, is like, just take responsibility for your shit. And I think that's really good advice, because it just puts you in a space where you don't feel like you have to like make excuses, and you just kind of accept the fact that, hey, I'm running late, or I'm not able to do such and such, and you just live in this space of being real, being honest, and I appreciate that. And I really am someone who kind of vibes really well with Scorpios, I think, because I am able to appreciate their sense of like cutting through the BS and just keeping it real. As a Virgo, I feel like Virgos really, we tend to pick up on BS. We tend to pick up on someone not being real and authentic really easily. And with Scorpios, I never have that vibe. Like, I never have the vibe that a Scorpio is not being true or not being real, because I think it's impossible, or not impossible, but very hard for them to not be who they are. They're that fixed water sign. That energy is going to come through. So they can't really hide it, right? And I appreciate that. So best advice I've ever gotten from a Scorpio is start taking responsibility for your stuff. And then a Taurus. So this particular Taurus was actually someone that I worked with, and they had a lot on their plate always. They had a lot of responsibilities. They were, you know, they oversaw staff, but they never broke a sweat. You never saw them look or feel overwhelmed, uncomfortable. They always had like this sense of being very much in control of everything, even if they weren't. And the best advice I actually got from them, and this is again another verbal quotation, it was to work smart, don't work hard. And this was a woman. She had a lot of responsibility, not only at work but also at home, and she juggled everything so effortlessly and never seemed like she was like overwhelmed. And I feel like that is definitely that Taurus energy, that is just very settled, very efficient. And you're never going to see like a Taurus, especially like in the workplace, really like stressed. They are, to me, going to be on top of it. They have a way of managing their time, managing their abilities, their skills, and delegating. that really just, to me, gives them this energy of being like leaders, right? Really good leaders. And I think it's because they operate from that perspective of work smart, don't work hard. So yeah, definitely some of the best advice I've gotten from a Taurus by far. Okay, so for Leos, again, another female that I work with, and she was older, and she was definitely in a position of leadership like a lot of Leos are, right? And she had a lot on her plate. But the thing that really stuck out to me and kind of spoke to me and inspired me was the fact that despite the fact she had so much on her plate, despite the fact that she was, you know, ahead of this entire department and in charge of so much, she still was able to take the time to let that big Leo heart shine and really love on people. Like, take the time to love on not only her, you know, friends and family, but even her staff. She would just do these sweet gestures, very Leo-like gestures, you know, to show her love, show her appreciation. And I just thought that was really wonderful, and it just spoke to me to say, like, no matter how successful you are or no matter how much you have on your plate, you still have to take that time to love on people, right? From that Leo perspective. And I know Leo energy can sometimes be so overwhelming, but I feel like it's important to understand the perspective of a Leo. A Leo is, yeah, they are that sign that sometimes can be synonymous with kind of wanting to be the center of everything. But at the same time, I feel like the reason for a Leo being that center, it's not solely for the purpose of them being that center. I feel like they feel this sense to inspire. They feel like this sense to be that reflective point of view for other people. So yeah, over the years, I have gotten to appreciate that Leo energy, because I don't just see it as like being superficial. I see the deeper side to it. And if you really dig down into the layers of Leo, into the layers of even their sometimes very like overwhelming nature, it's connected to, I think, just their sense of needing to bring warmth to a situation, needing to bring warmth to an environment. And yeah, so when you see a Leo just out there Leoing and you think that you're just doing it for the sake of wanting to be the center of attention, wanting to have everything surround them, I think it's because they just really can't help it, and it's also coming from a very beautiful place in a way. Okay, and that had nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I just wanted to say that. All right, so now we're going to move on to Sagittarius's, and best advice I've ever gotten from a Sagittarius is, okay, I have to think about this one. And I have to think about it because I have a lot of like inspiration. I kind of, one of the advices that I got from Sages is kind of to live life on your own terms and immerse yourself in the things that really make your life enjoyable, no matter what that is. Sages are always looking for adventure. They're always looking for travel experiences. And it doesn't mean every Sagittarius is very different. When you look, you have to think about how their Saturn is positioned, how their Jupiter is positioned, especially their Jupiter, because they're ruled by Jupiter. So when you say that when I say that Sages are, you know, always looking for adventure, they're always wanting to travel. Some Sages, travel for them is a state over. That is huge. That is like an experience for them, right? And then you have some Sages, based on how their Jupiter is positioned, based on how their Saturn is positioned, based on how other things are conditioned, they are going, they will plan a weekend trip to another country in a heartbeat, right? So it's just, it has other elements, but the very core of who they are is people that really enjoy adventure and enjoy travel, enjoy learning about things like, you know, religion even, right? And I think that they have a really good ability to like take everyday things and really make them enjoyable. They're not people who, Sagittarius are not getting like lost in the mundane parts of life. They're taking like something as simple as like a TV show that they really love to watch, and they're making it enjoyable. They really know how to just meet life, to me, with just a sense of enthusiasm, and find enjoyment in areas of life. And I can appreciate that. Also, I feel like Sagittarius are really comfortable in their own skin. I have not met a Sag that is not confident, and that's awesome. And you know, I think that has a lot to do with that Jupiter rulership. That's not to say that there aren't Sagittarius out there that don't have, like, you know, their own whatever kind of issues, but overall I feel like they tend to, for the most part, be very comfortable in their skin. And you can almost always, or I can always tell when a female, especially male Sagittarius are a little different, but female Sagittarius, I can always spot out a female Sag anywhere, because they just have a way, that a confidence that they exude. They have a quiet confidence, right? It's not like an overwhelming look at me. It's very quiet, it's very subtle, kind of reserved, but also very solid. So, and I appreciate that. And fun fact, if you know a Sagittarius, tell me if they have, or list in the comments if they have long legs or shapely legs, or like a shapely, you know, bottom, because that's what they're known for. If you are a Sag rising or Sag sun sign, you probably have something going on with your legs. And all the Sagittarius that I know have like long legs, or they have just really shapely, you know. So leave that in the comment if you know a Sag that meets that criteria. Even the short Sagittarius that I know, like even the ones that are not like, it's like very tall, they still have like long legs, long okay, so Pisces. What I have learned over the years, well, first of all, let me just preface this by saying I am a Virgo, as I probably say in every video. And as a Virgo, we sit to the opposite of Pisces. And for me, I am either going to really get along with a Pisces or really not get along with a Pisces. It's very, So there are some Pisces that I have met, and I am for the most part a very agreeable person. I don't like ever have like people that I don't get along with. The only people that I have not gotten along with in my entire life has been Pisces. And I think it's because we pull from the opposite ends of each other. And like I said, though, there are some Pisces that I really get along with, and I really get, like, we are almost a mirror of each other. But one of the things that I've learned from Pisces over the years is to release that sense of spiritual limitation and to kind of see life from a balanced perspective. And I think I've learned that more so from Pisces that I actually get along with. Because Pisces, I feel, just have this sense of being able to live in a spiritual perspective very freely, very carefree, very honestly. And they don't really see things, in my opinion, from like this perspective of good or bad. They more see things, or have that spiritual eye to see things from a sense of, is it from a polarity sense, right? And they kind of, in my my own personal experience with them, I've been able to kind of learn how to pull some of that energy and not really live so much in that Virgo, that very earthy Virgo perspective. And like I said, I either really get along with Pisces or I really don't get along with Pisces. And I think for the Pisces that I tend to have issues with getting along with, they tend to be Pisces that are, in my opinion, not fully evolved. So they're still pulling, because I feel like for a Pisces, you have to really allow yourself to just be led by spirit. You cannot live in this reality. Pisces are best when they are they accept that spirituality walk and they accept that spiritual perspective. Most Pisces that I know that are still not fully evolved in that sense of spirituality, they tend to be miserable. That's just how I've experienced it. So one of the things that I've learned from my fellow Virgos, and yes, it's possible to learn things from other people that are your same sign. You learn things about your own sign from them, right? I've learned to be okay with not being perfect, not feeling like there has to be like this pristine nature or like this perfection that is connected to Virgo, right? You can drop a 4-letter word every now and then. You can, you can just be yourself, right? And even in public, because Virgos are very different in public than we are at home, like I'm sure most signs are. But yeah, that was definitely something that I picked up from that Virgo was don't buy into our own BS. Don't buy into our own facade. Be the fullness of who you are. Be that idea of what a Virgo is. Oh, you have to be perfect. Oh, you have to, carry yourself a certain way. No, that's not always true. So that's what I kind of feel like I picked up from the best advice I've gotten from a Virgo is don't buy into the facade of what a Virgo is, and allow yourself to be the fullness of that Virgo quality, which is not just being perfect. Okay, advice I've gotten from a Capricorn is, first of all, Capricorns have big boss energy. Like they are bosses. My daughter, who is only a little one, she's very young, and she's a Capricorn. She's a double Capricorn, almost triple. Because of that, I've learned a lot about Capricorns, even though she's very young. One of the things I've learned is that Capricorns love being in charge. They love being bosses. And they just have big boss energy. And so I would have to say that one of the things that I'm learning from Capricorns, even my own daughter, is how to tap into that big boss energy. Like Capricorns, to me, they don't know how to do anything else other than be in that leadership position. They don't know anything other than being a boss. Whether they are working at a fast food restaurant or a big corporation, they just tend to take on that leadership role. And of course, we all know, if you know anything about astrologies, because if they are ruled by Saturn, and Saturn allows them to take on that more serious nature. It gives them that very conservative perspective, right? And yeah, I think that's one of the things that I kind of have learned from Capricorns. And I think people kind of give Capricorns a bad rap. I think it's easy to see Capricorns as like being very serious and kind of detached in a sense. But honestly, Capricorns to me have really big hearts and really, really sweet, sensitive hearts as well. Because of that Saturn connection, I think Saturn tends to get that rap of being that planet of just like harshness. But Saturn to me actually comes across as a love planet, in a sense, a planet that is synonymous with love. Because when you think about love, right, love is not just puppies and roses. Love, some of the love that it really takes to help you evolve and help you grow is tough love. And that is definitely Saturn all day. Tough love for the purpose of helping us to grow and to get better. So yeah, because of that, I feel like Capricorns are really actually quite loving people. It's just that their love, or their actions of love, or their the way how they kind of exercise that love quality is a little different than how maybe someone who's ruled by Venus is going to exercise that. But it still is very much love, and they love in a to a depth that is very strong. Now Aquarius this is again another quote that I've gotten, and this is actually years ago. I was out shopping with one of my girlfriends who is an Aquarius, and she probably doesn't even remember this, but I remember it because it kind of just changed my perspective altogether about myself. And we were shopping, and I was doing my normal, you know, complaining about this will never fit. Like, I'm just like, I'm tired of like being whatever. I need to go on a diet, and like just complaining. She just stopped and looked at me, and she was like, do you know that you are actually not as like chunky as you think you are? And I was like, yes I am. In my head. But it just made me think, like, maybe I'm not. Like, why am I so hard on myself? I think that was just such a profound statement coming from an Aquarius, because honestly, Aquariuses are those signs that are so connected to being that like friend, number one, you know, being that good friend. Once you have an Aquarius as a friend, you have a friend, right? It's not easy to get an Aquarius to kind of attach to you, because they have so many acquaintances. But once you have them as your friend, you have a good friend. And then on top of that, you know, they are that sign that's connected to being like the humanitarians. They are very... they kind of just have a way of making you feel good and doing kind things and saying kind things, right? Because they really care. And that really, to me, was like her kind of being a humanitarian to me as a friend at the time, because literally those words kind of gave me a different perspective about my own body image. And it was like, damn, maybe I'm being hard on myself. And looking back now, I mean, back then I was like so much smaller than I am even now. So looking back, it's like, yeah, I wasn't, you know, but it was just in my head. And it was just amazing for her to actually just like pause for a moment and just like say, hey girl, like, you do know, you know. And again, to me, that's just like so connected to what Aquariuses do. They're like that friend that will just like step in and give you that beautiful, encouraging piece of advice coming from such a pure and kind place, right? Moving on to Aries, the best advice I've gotten from Aries is to embrace life to the fullest. Yes. And to dance. And the reason why I say that is because my dad is an Aries, and my dad is someone who, he is like the adventurer of our family. Like, he's the one who is like out doing all the outdoor stuff like Aries love to do. He's always been someone who's been very athletic. Like, he runs and he, you know, he does all sorts of like outdoor activities, fishing and all this stuff. So always like embracing life to the fullest. And then he's always like the first one dancing in the family also. I'm sorry guys, you guys probably see I have like some, me and my daughter did henna and it's still on my hand. But anyway, so, but at the same time, there's like this wonderful balance that Aries are able to establish in life, where they are embracing life to the fullest. They are that, you know, they're ready to have fun, but at the same time they work hard. And I know that again because my father is an Aries and he is a hard worker, and he's always been a hard worker. Aries don't sit down, you know, they just always have to be going, and that's that fire, you know, element, of course. But at the same time, like I said, they also have like this wonderful childlike spirit that lives with them no matter how old they get. And it's not to say that they are like childish. It's a childlike spirit that really kind of just flourishes even as they get older. They still hold on to that. They're still able to like let their hair down and just have fun and embrace life. And it's almost a requirement for them, I would say, even as they get older, to kind of even do that a little bit more. And that's what I've learned from Aries, is to live life with passion, work hard, and hold on to that childlike spirit throughout life, right? On to Gemini. And honestly, I don't know a lot of Geminis, but all the Geminis I've ever ran into have always been very, they always have like a very interesting way of thinking. And honestly, one of my favorite Geminis is my cousin. My cousin is a Gemini, and every time I think Gemini, I think about her, because I feel like she is just such a strong Gemini. And for me, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten from her is when we were younger. If she watches this video, she's probably gonna laugh. When we were younger, I think we're like a year apart. She's like a little older. She's the older cousin. And when we were younger, we were two different, like we were different, right? And she was more calm. I was more uncalm. And she was like, one time she just was like, you need to slow down. Yeah. And I took that, like certain things just penetrate, like certain things that people say to me just penetrate my spirit and stays with me for a long time. And I kind of bring it back up. And even like as I was getting older, like that just stayed with me. And to me, what I realized is over time, what she was saying was, you need to learn how to love yourself. She was saying, you need to slow down. You're moving too fast. What she was really saying was, you need to learn how to love yourself. And to me, that was really important, because coming from a Gemini, that's something that I feel that Geminis are able to really hone in on very easily. They, to me, are very connected to their sense of self. And they have that natural confidence that kind of just it just flows, right? I've never really known a Gemini that is not confident. And it doesn't mean that they are like full of themselves, but they're just confident in who they are, to the point where they value themselves and they have a sense of self-esteem that is really high. And that's all the Geminis I've known are Geminis who have that perspective. If you guys kind of know differently, then definitely let me know in the comments. But yeah, and I think that's why that resonated to me so much, because again, I feel like the messages that I've gotten from certain signs that resonate kind of come from this authentic place that is synonymous with who that sign or what that sign represents, right? So when she was like, you need to slow down, I read that, or my spirit received that as, you need to learn how to love yourself. And over the years as I grew up, that kind of kept playing in my head, like, girl, learn how to love yourself a little bit more, Like I said, me and my cousin, we were very different. So the things that I needed to learn, she was able to kind of like push forward and help me to get to that space, even without her knowing. I don't think she even ever really, she probably doesn't even remember saying Cancer. One of the wonderful things I have learned from Cancers, and I feel like I'm still learning this from Cancers, which this year has kind of been a blessing to me, because I would say, as a Virgo, I am not someone who makes friends easily, and I don't want to make friends easily. I have kind of like a invisible guard, right? And I don't really let people too close. And I don't really know how to do friendship believe it or not. I know how to love on all people. I know how to be kind to all people, but I don't know how to like hone in and give people undivided attention without feeling like I'm being too overwhelming or too overbearing. That's my own issues. I'm going to deal with it. But what I've learned from Cancers is how to show up as a friend, right? And I've learned this from two particular Cancers. They are probably watching because they actually support this channel, and that's part of what they've taught me is how to support, how to show up as a friend. And one of them is actually my cousin, Tam. Hey, Tam girl. But it's just showing up as a friend and showing up to support and showing up to give like unsolicited love. And that's something that these two Cancers have taught me. And I'm going to also shout out the other Cancer. That's my girl Kim. And I'm shouting them out because I know they're watching because they support this channel. And like I get messages from them like, hey, I loved your video, keep going, you know, like just always supporting. And that it's just something that I had to, or I am learning, because it's not necessarily that I don't know how to support people, or I don't want to support people, or I don't know how to be a friend, or I don't want to be a friend. It's just that I am the kind of person that I don't like to feel like I'm being overwhelming or overbearing to people. So I tend to give people little small doses of myself so I don't overwhelm them, because I know that I have so much. It can be so much sometimes. And I don't like that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like it when I'm getting that energy, and it makes me feel anxious and it gives me anxiety. But they've taught me how to show the love, show the appreciation in a way that is authentic and true, but not overwhelming, not invading, not invasive. So yeah, from Cancers, I've learned how to show up as a friend. And Cancers are so nurturing, so loving by nature. Like they are just so naturally caring, right? So it's not that they would be the sign that would give me this lesson in life as to how to show up as a true and authentic friend. Okay. And then lastly, Libra. Happy Venus in Libra. You don't have to be a light being to do light work. And I'm going to say that again. You don't have to be a light being to do light work. And the reason why I feel like I've learned this from a Libra is because Libra is all about what? Balancing the scale, harmony. And the balance doesn't come from being in one area or another area. It comes from literally that mid, that little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? And because of that, being able to understand that you don't have to be a light being to do light work. Meaning you don't have to be someone who's just always so happy, always so perky, always so living in, you know, this unrealistic idea of what it is to be a quote-unquote light being or doing light work. You can be real, you can be authentic, but you're still getting the work done. And when I say light work, I mean spiritual work, doing things to move, you know, the collective forward, whatever that is that you've been called to do. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to talk a certain way. You don't have to dress a certain way. You can just be who you are as long as your scales are balanced. And also, one particular Libra has taught me to really trust my own intuition, because every time that I start to doubt my intuition, or I start to question my intuition, they are there, whether they realize it or not. Obviously they don't know that maybe I'm having a little, you know, questioning of my own whatever, but they come with this, like, they trust your intuition, or you're an intuitive, or, you know, they just kind of come to give me that reminder. And I think it's interesting that it's coming from a Libra, because again, Libras are synonymous with the balance, right? And I think that that's something that is not by accident, as nothing is, in my opinion, when it comes to this reality. That's it, guys. I think I went through all the signs. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and tell me some of the advice that you've gotten from some of your signs, or some signs, or some of the best advice you've given as your sign. And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to get to a subscription level that will allow me to do lives here on this YouTube channel. All right, so hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.